Oh my goodness. Can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Good morning, wherever you're watching from. Here it's morning, 11 a.m. I know some people are outside in Nigeria, so it's evening. Good evening. And if you don't mind, I know your cameras are off. Just drop in the chat. Where are you listening from? Or where are you watching this from? I just want to get a sense of who I'm speaking to. But I can see some names, so I know that they're my people. Everybody's my people, but Nigerian people. So I can see some names there. So great, great. Greetings from Uganda. Great. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else is on this profile on this live call? UK. Great. Thank you. Thank you. So I've been asked to speak, and thank you so much. I find it. I want to. Is there a short version of your name, please?
I was waiting for that.
Tumininu,
Call
right?
me to me, yeah.
Can, can I just call you Tumininu? Okay,
Yes, to me
great.
is fine.
Okay. Thank you so much for the invitation. I know when you reached out, speaking engagement, I've been a little bit away from the scene. I just want to just do stuff, indoors and stuff. And when you reached out, I was like, something about making impact and giving back is something that I really take so dearly. So I said yes to this, and I'm glad to be doing this today because I think what we're going to be discussing today, and the topic you gave to me, is so important. It's so crucial in our journey. I think it's something that should be taught everywhere, even in schools. But unfortunately, we live in a world where we are not trained and mentored and designed to live life to the fullest. School doesn't prepare you for life. I'm sorry to say that, but that's the truth. I mean, I schooled in Olajuwon University, but it didn't prepare me for where the life I'm living today. But there were certain things that made up that I took from my journey to where I am today. So we're going to be discussing about designing the life that you want. I don't know what life that you want, but I know that as far as you're on this call today, I know you desire a great life. I know you desire something more from life. And I remember back in the days when I was young, growing up in Ijesha Surulere. If you are familiar with Nigeria, Lagos, you know Ijesha very well. It's a popular place, Surulere. And growing up there, I realized that if I read a book, there was a book I read by Tony Robbins then. God bless the guy that came with that book that day and it's Awaken the Giant Within. And that book sparked a fire in me. And I realized that if I don't do something intentionally about where I am, the environment and society and where I am is going to create the life that I want, that I don't want. So I have to be intentional to design the life that I want. Right now, this topic is so important. So please take your pen and paper. I'm going to be running through. She has given me 30 minutes. I thought it was going to be 45 minutes, but I saw 30 minutes in the agenda. I'm like, okay, we're going to try to do justice in 30 minutes. Okay. Thank you, every one of you who have joined in Nigeria. I see a lot of people from Nigeria. Thank you for joining in. Please do not allow any distraction. I'm glad that we are all muted, so there's no distractions. I'm going to be speaking, so I want you to play keen attention. It's unfortunate that we live in a world today that we have people going through life without stopping to think about what exactly am I living life? What exactly how am I living my life? Like and you hear the statement like, and most people say this a lot is what will be. And it's a popular saying. Well, in Yoruba, we say, I grew up in Nigeria in Lagos, so I speak a little bit of Yoruba. They will say things like, just enjoy your life, Jaye, whatever will be, nobody knows tomorrow. But the truth is that if you live with that mindset, life will always give you what you don't want. And most times people end up, and you see people complaining today on social media and all of that, is because they are not intentional about designing their life. And I love the word designing there because as a designer, I understand that to design something, I have to have a picture in mind. I have to have a picture of what I want of a desired outcome, right? So the question I have for you today is, are you living life by default or by design? There are two kinds of people in the world today. We have people who are living life by design, which means they're very intentional about the things that they're imputing in life so that they can get the right output. And we have people who are living life by default, which means they take life as it is, they go to the school, they finish their school, they're not even thinking about what do I have to do to be able to live the life that God has called me to live. I'm a Christian, so you might hear me sprinkling a little bit of God in my talk, but that's part of my design. So most of us have lived our life on default mode, right? And default mode means go to school, work hard, get a job, start a family, maybe buy a house, and just live, right? And then maybe die, either by, rapture or whatever. But that's not supposed to be our life. Designing our life requires, and again, the question that I have for everyone here is, and something you might want to write down is, what kind of life do I want to live? What kind of life have I been called to live? The Bible says in Genesis that God created man and said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. But that calls for intentionality for you to be able to generate the kind of fruit that you want to see in the world. It calls for intentionality to be able to dominate the world or the field or wherever you find yourself in. People look at my story, read my story, and see where I am today, and they can't connect where I'm coming from to where I am today. I grew up in Ijesha Surulere. I schooled in Ayetoro, Ogun State. If you know Ayetoro, if you know Jennifer, there's a place she's always talking about in Jennifer's story, Ayetoro. That's the remote village. In fact, I had to learn Yoruba by force because there they could not even speak English at that time. And then I, lived in places like what's that place again? That place near Iyanopaja or somewhere. Yeah, Iyanopaja. I've lived there, and I've lived in all these places. But one thing I've realized, and then people say, and when they see you and the way you are acting and the way you are positioning yourself and doing things, they ask, why are you doing what you're doing? And I tell them that if I'm going to leave this particular environment, if I'm going to create the life that I desire, I have to be very intentional, even despite my background. So for someone reading this today, no matter your background should not determine your design, right? You can always create a new design, even from an old or rusty or messy background. You can be intentional about where your life will end in the next 5, 10 years from now by what you are doing today. Today. Now, I try to define what it means to design the life that you want. And I'm going to share this here. You might write it down. To design the life that you want, you have to be intentionally shaping your life with curiosity. I'm going to highlight the words that I'm using in this definition. Stepping into unknown, stepping into places that you have never stepped into, stepping into places that you don't feel comfortable stepping into. With courage. I remember then when I have not traveled, I told someone and a friend, I went to go get my passport, then in school, people were like, why are you getting a passport? What is a passport for? I said, well, for where I'm going to. The Bible says that faith is the substance of things hoped for. Go and get that substance. So I got to go my passport. I didn't use it for 5 years while I was in school, but I had to do that because I had to be intentional. Guess what again? I left Ayutthaya those, when I was on holiday, I went to Victoria Island. Imagine just going to embassies, just to go and get a feel of what the life that I'm designing looks like. And some places there won't allow you to come in. Some you can go in without visit. Especially American consulates, you can go in without without an invitation or whatever. But you can go in and get a feel. I went to different embassies, but I had to step into those unknown places with courage because I want to be intentional about the life that I want to design. Standing firm in your beliefs, values, and vision with conviction. Conviction is so important because you will hear people say all things that, some people say, oh, now you serious pass. I remember then in school, people say things like, you're too serious, and then when the people say you're too serious, and people see it as a thing of, they water down their values, they water down their beliefs because they want to feel among. I don't know where you are in your life today, but you probably are places where people are telling you that your own is too much. You are too serious about your life. You carry book everywhere, reading everything. Those things you are doing are preparing you for the future that you desire. But you have to be convinced about it to stay on it, or else people will talk you out of it. And again, to develop the capacity to build, sustain, and grow the life that you were created to live. I highlight these four words here: curiosity. Most of us have lost our curiosity. You know, people say as you grow older, you become less curious. But that should not be so. I don't know what age you are in now. I'm in my 30s, but I can tell you that I'm still curious. If you see things that I'm doing here in Canada, people say, oh, how is it that you've been here for 5 years and 6 years and you're being in these places and people are inviting you to, I remember one Department of National Defense, Canada invited me to come speak to a staff of over 600 people. And I just came into Canada just literally 3 years ago. And someone asked me, how did you learn that kind of speaking engagement? What do you do? And I'm like, it is intentionality because you have a voice, because you know who you are. And I'm going to be sharing some of these things in my talk today. You have to be curious. What? You could question everything. Why do I have to do things this way? Why do I have to settle for what is it? People say when they come to Canada, oh, they have to do care job. Why do I have to do care job? Why can't I? Is there no more to life? You know what I mean? Okay, I study agriculture. Do I have to do work in a farm? No. You don't have to work in a farm. Yes, if you want to work in a farm, that's good. If the life that you desire or you want to design requires that you go to the farm, by all means do that. But if the life that you want to design doesn't require going to the farm, you don't have to be in the farm. But you have to be curious to question everything, right? You don't have to accept life as it is. Someone here might listen to me and accept their life and say, you know what, I have tried all I can, and it looks like I'm not moving forward. But I'm here to tell you, don't accept that life. You can be more. You can be what God has designed for you to be. Number two, courageous. I call it courageous rebellion. Let me tell you, you will have to fight against systems and and beliefs and limiting beliefs to be able to create the life that you desire. I'm telling you, you have to be realistic. I remember then in school, people were like, "Oh, why is it that you sort of you do your schoolwork, you are reading books, you are buying books of Miles Monroe, you are doing this," and I'm like, and then they begin to, I tell someone, I say, first in class is not first in life. First class in school is not the first class in life because I know then people who mock me and say, "Hey, you are not taking school seriously. You don't come to class because I attended this conference in Lagos and everything." I knew the life that I was designing, and it requires you to be courageously rebellious against any system and standards to create the life that you desire. Number three, conviction. You have to believe that you're destined for more. I'm telling you, if you don't have this conviction within your heart that you're destined for more, you always settle for less. You will not even push. When people say no to you, you stop there. You will not even make any effort again. I remember when I came into, I was, I worked 9 to 5, here, and there was a particular time I was trying to get to a position. I have never done policy before, right? I read agriculture, studied human resources, but here I was pursuing a position in policy, a senior policy role. And someone told me, oh, even a fellow people like us here, I said, hey, they will not take you. What are you? You just came into this position. There is a seniority, blah, blah, blah. Don't even bother applying. I said, no, I'm going to apply. Because I was curious about policy here. Because I mean, if if your design requires you to be able to control some certain things and detect it in the society, you have to understand policy. I wanted to get into that job. I applied. Guess what? I was called for the interview. Guess what? I got a job. And that was just barely how many months into that organization. What am I saying to you? You have to be convinced that what the dream that you desire is achievable. Otherwise, people are going to talk you away from it. Number four, you have to have the capacity. The life that you desire is not going to fall on your laps. You have to develop capacity. Someone said, "Hey, you come to abroad here. You come here. You relax." Someone told me when I was flying the day I left, and she said to me, send a message, "Hey, Emeka, your fire, you lose your fire." I said, "No, the fire increased." In fact, my mom sometimes will come and say, "Man, I hear people go to that place and they don't, they lose God, number one, or they even lose the things that they are passionate about." I'm like, no. When you know the life that you desire to design, you have to realize that you have to keep developing your capacity. Now, what does it mean to design your life? I broke it into the four questions, and there are more questions, but I just broke it into four questions that I think what did you think about when we talk about designing the life that you want? Remember, I said that God has designed you to design your life. He was not coming to come here to design that for you. He's not coming to come here. He has given you everything that's required to live life to the fullest, but it's up to you to design it the way you want to design it. Right? Number one is who do I want to feel? No, what do I want to feel more of? What do I want to feel more of? Not just achieve. Now, I get it. People say a lot of things, and when they don't achieve things, or you see LinkedIn, maybe I can't post on LinkedIn, I can't be on LinkedIn because people are posting achievement and all of that. I tell people, the first question you have to ask yourself about designing your life is, what do I want to feel? How do you want to feel every day? Do you want to feel at peace? Because if you want to feel at peace, you will prioritize that relationship that you're in. So if you're in a relationship that you should not be in because you're not prioritizing your peace, you're in a relationship with someone who's going to give you heartbreak tomorrow and going to make you struggle. And what do you want to feel more of? You want to feel more of peace, of joy, of freedom, of impact. That would determine what kind of design that you create for your life. Number two, who am I becoming? Not just what am I doing. A lot of times people are focused on what to do, what to do. Okay, what does the next thing to do to become? No, no, no. What do you have to become? Because oftentimes what you become will determine the capacity at which you do what you do. Most of us are chasing what to do, but we've not developed the capacity to do those things. Who do I want to become? Do I want to become a person of excellence? Do I want to become a person of significance? Do I want to become a person of influence? Those questions will determine how you create your design. Number three, who do I want to do life with? This is now relationship. Who do I, so you know that there's some places you can't find yourself. I told people my life was in school, it was school, church, home, reading my book. When I graduated, I work, doing work in Lagos. It was church, school, conference, home. And then the conference was strategic because I needed to be with some certain people. And those people who I've built relationship with, we have moved overseas and we're still staying connected. Who do I want to do life with? That relationship at work, relationship, as a life partner. Who do I want to do life with? Number four question you have to ask yourself is, what do I want to be remembered for? That's so important because that will determine the things you begin to do today. I was almost to shout hallelujah, but let's let's leave that. Okay. Now, I broke down four buckets. Four buckets. I'm running through this. Please bear with me, but I want to make sure I cover everything that I have to share with us. Four buckets we're going to look into to design the life that we want. Number one bucket, and I'm going to talk about the four buckets and I'll break them down in as I go. Number one bucket is identity. Number two bucket is imagination. Number three bucket is impact. And number three bucket is innovation. Number four bucket is impact. These are the four buckets that I've built my life on and I'm still building my life on. Remember, I told you that designing your life is an ongoing process. And I'm going to share how that plays out in these four buckets we're going to look at: identity, imagination, innovation, and impact. First one is identity. Who are you? That's the very first question you must ask yourself. You know, I figured this out. I'm so glad I figured this out early enough. And where I am today is as a result of the identity, the self-identity, who I believe that I am. When they will ask you, just say, was it Peter or Paul? I say, who are you? Because life will always ask you that question. In fact, in Nigeria, it's a popular saying, it's a popular question they ask you, who are you? So the first question you have to ask about designing life you want is, who are you? Or who are you become? How do you see yourself? Identity is the foundation of your design. Even in branding, corporate design, a lot of that, the first, one of the things they use to identify a brand is the identity. If you get, you're driving and police stops you, the first thing they ask you is your identity. They want to know, who are you? So life will always present instances and situations that questions who you are. But if you don't understand who you are, you'll be everything to everybody, right? And to determine who your identity, I broke it into three drivers. And these three drivers are very important to determine your identity because your identity shapes your design. Number one, your personality. Your identity is shaped by your personality. Most people don't even understand what personality is. What's your personality type? How have you even done that test? That's an assignment for someone here today. Go and do a personality test to understand why you do what you do. If you haven't done that, you'll be confused as to I'm always drawn to this particular thing, but I don't know why. Then I find myself doing something else. But sometimes I feel I go and study that person, your personality type. There's a book that I think it's Tim LaHaye. I read it. Why you do what you do, or something like that. Go read that book. But one personality test I wanted to do is 16 personalities. Go do that. I did mine, and I knew early on that I was a protagonist, someone who loves to help people, someone who is an inspired optimist. So my parents will say, "You're always saying things positively." I will not. In fact, you will not hear me say I'm poor, or I don't have money, or I'm broke. No, no, no. You won't hear me say that because I understand that those words shape my identity. So as a protagonist, I understand that this is my personality, right? Even helps you determine your career path. What I do today, teaching, speaking, coaching, is because I understood who, my personality type, right? Number two is identifying your purpose. Your purpose will always drive your identity. What are you called to do? Now, I'm not just saying your job, you know, or your background. Most people have allowed their background determine their identity because they are coming from a poor background, it then determines their identity. No, it shouldn't, right? If I tell you my story, I remember, someone say, no, I remember back in the day when I would even be selling, my parents would send me, put money in a paper in my pocket for me to send to a neighbor or a friend to go and borrow something to cook for the weekend because we didn't have the money. But my background should not determine my identity because my identity shapes the design and who I become in life. So, what is your purpose? What are you called to do? Have you identified what you're called to do? Are you called to help people? Are you called to serve people in what capacity, in what field, in what industry? You have to be able to identify your purpose. Your identity should not be determined by the failures, the things you have failed. And oh, I am a, some people say things like, oh, I'm a failure. Oh, people like us don't even go that place. Those kind of statements, right? Number three is the principles and your perspective. What are your values? What are the things that are non-negotiable to you? Those are the things that shape your design. Those are the things that determine your identity. Is someone there with me? Your identity is not defined by what you do right now, your job. No. So sometimes people say, "Oh, if you go on my LinkedIn profile, you probably might not even see what I do on my description because I'm not defined by a job title." So when I see people things like, "Oh, this one adds this one," I'm like, "Okay, that job is taken away from you now. What are you going to be doing? Who are you?" Right? So don't tie your identity to a job. Tie it to a purpose. What are you called to do? Number two bucket. We're going to look at second bucket, imagination. This is so powerful. If there's no other place I stop, I share again. This one is so critical. Imagination, the power of imagination. I learned the principle from back in the day from Sam Adeyemi. I don't know how many of you know him, but then in school I knew that this was someone whose story has inspired me, and through the power of imagination, he has been able to create the life that he lives today. And I understood it so powerfully, and I started applying to my life. What do you see for yourself? Write this down. You cannot design what you haven't imagined or visualized. Write this down. You cannot design, you cannot live the life you will live 10 years from now if you have not imagined or visualized it. I remember then back in school, had a vision board. People call you crazy then. I even still have one here in my home because I still maintain that principle. People I cut pictures that represent what I want to do, where I want to go, where I want to be. right? If I tell you my my story, I mean, I left Nigeria a time where people never, I mean, really don't talk about Jackpot then. 2015 was still early, you know. Now it's now very popular. But I used the power of imagination to get to where I am today. So what do you see for yourself? The Bible says that now in Ephesians 3 verse 20 to 21 said, now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than what we ask or imagine. Meaning that whatever we imagine is what will come to us. So what do you see for yourself? It says to Abraham, as far as your eyes can see. I remember then in school, I and my friends, we had this vision of as far as our eyes can see, we got the world map. And each of us took different countries and we were researching about those countries and we were praying, if you're a Christian, into those countries because we wanted to see as far as our eyes can see. So where you are today is as a result of how far your eyes have seen. To design the life you live, that you want to live the next 10 years to 5 years, to design the next decade, you have to use your imagination. Most of us don't use imagination. We are so distracted. We are so distracted with our jobs and work that we've not imagined what is possible. Imagination is the blueprint of your future. Write that down. Imagination is the blueprint of your future. But some of us are so distracted to even imagine. To even sit down with ourselves for 5 minutes is a problem. If we are not going through our phones and scrolling on social media, it's a problem in today's world. But I'm telling you that those people who you look up to today, who are creating, who are making impact in life today, are using to that they don't even joke with their solitary place. Don't even call them when they are in a quiet place. I have an right now in my home. I have an office here. You can't come in here when I'm in my office. And this is because by intention, and you don't have to have an office. Even when I was in school, then I had my computer and I had my room, I had my tape and everything. You have to imagine. We are so caught up with so what is going on in the society that the society has designed us, the masses, to be so distracted to imagine that those who are shaping society today are not even creating those noise and those news that they are reading. No, we don't imagine no more. The life that you have set, write this down. The life that you have settled for is the life is the life that you have not imagined. I need to say that again. The life that you have settled for is the life that you are yet to imagine. Someone say, "Oh, what is there again? I have, I have maybe I got a good job. There's more. There's more." Now, there are three drivers to fueling your imagination. Number one, hunger. Hunger. You have to be hungry. I cannot overemphasize this. You have to be hungry. You have to be hunger to explore what could be. You have to be hungry to explore what is possible. You have to be hungry to explore more than your current limitation. I remember then when I was in school in Ayotoro, I knew that the life I wanted to design would not mean that I have to be living in Ayotoro from time to time. So I was finding myself in Lagos, in Ikeja, attending conferences, attending Daystar conferences because I had to be hungry. So some of us today, wherever you are, no matter even if you are in UK or Canada, the life that you are living right now is not what it can be more. Only if you're hungry. Some of us are not hungry anymore. I have one half, so I'm hungry. Who says you should have only one? Who says you can't have two? Who? Oh, I'm making 150,000. Who says you can't make more? And I'm not saying that that should be your desire, but the fact that there's more to life and God has created you to have dominion and be fruitful requires you to be hungry. Number three, exposure. Number three driver of your imagination is exposure. Some of us, it's only our family and friends. That's why they thank God for social media. But some of us are now exposed to the things that don't even fill our imagination anymore. You're so caught up. That's why I spend more time on LinkedIn. You won't see me. I mean, Instagram, maybe we just go there and, but LinkedIn, because I know that that's where my market is. That's where the people that are following my hunger are. You have to expose yourself, you know? I told people here, even when you come to places like this, Canada and all of that, you think you have arrived and you settle. Tomorrow this week I'll be in another conference. You have to find yourself in expose yourself to an environment that keeps you hungry. Exposure is so important. New experiences, new environment, new perspective that sparks your vision. Someone today, what you need is more exposure. What you need right now is more exposure. Yes, you might live in Shomolu. Yes, you might live in... No, that doesn't mean you can't be exposed. Number three is faith. What before imagination is faith. Like I said, faith is the substance of things hoped for. You have to believe that the greater you is possible. You have to believe it. Despite what you are going through, despite how you probably don't have money in your pocket. I remember then, I would go to conferences. They would invite me to come speak somewhere, and I don't even have money to go for transport. But I will move. I have faith that I will get to that venue. I have faith that the life that I desire is possible. Someone said, how do I? Oh, you want to try? You have to have faith that it's possible. Someone said, how? I remember then I was planning my marriage, and my colleagues were like, how are you planning marriage in 50,000 naira salary back then? How are you planning? Are you living in the boys' quarter? That's where I was living in Alagomeji. But I was planning a wedding. And how it happened, I do not even know. But I had faith that it was going to happen because I knew it was time. My wedding was in Osaka, London. I did not see. I was telling someone the other day. The venue was about £1 million. As I made the faith to approach the owner of that place, guess how much I paid after for that venue of a 1 point something. The woman said, I just love. There's something about you, and she gave me. I think less than 250 or so. She gave me that venue. How the money came, I don't even know till today. How the cars came out. See, someone here needs to apply faith to what they hope for. You need to make that phone call. You need to apply for that job, even when you think it's bigger than you. You have to have faith. Faith is a substance of things hoped for, which means you have to take action even when you have not seen it. Because it's in the action that that thing will materialize. It's action that brings that thing to the physical realm. Number three bucket we have to look at is innovation. You will agree with me today that if you are not innovative, you'll be left behind. And this part is also very important because this is where you begin to, and I'll talk about the drivers for innovation here, but this is where you begin to put in the work. This is where you begin to align your actions to what you have imagined. And when I say innovation, someone said, why innovation? Because you have to begin to think things differently. You have to be innovative about how you approach your design, right? I mean, someone said, okay, what does innovative look like? You have to look at how can I innovate right now in my current, circumstances. Okay, for example, I speak when I was in Nigeria, but when I came here, I was like, how am I going to build my speaking business here? I had to be innovative. Guess what? I started a podcast and I was strategic about who I brought on the podcast. And I started, creating that platform to be able to connect with the right audience. Guess what? One of the invitation I got was someone who said, my manager listened to your podcast. And she said, you have to bring this guy on. I think it was with Health Canada or so. You have to bring him. I'm like, how did the manager just listen to? So you have to be innovative. You have to think about the concept of and, not or. Some people say, is it I do this or I do this? Or what do you do? Oh, I'm an accountant. In today's day and age, if you don't have an and, you will not survive. There has to be an and. So don't be afraid or ashamed to say, I do this, I am this and this. I am a speaker and a podcaster. I'm also a podcaster, but also a business analyst. You have to be innovative. And what are the three drivers of innovation? Number one, discipline. Discipline. These are habits that will lead to long-term transformation. Let me tell you something. If you are not disciplined with these four things, you would not achieve greatness. And I can tell you, you can take this to the bank. Number one, you have to be disciplined about your money. Some people, when they get their salary is going to, either party or doing something that doesn't add to their long-term growth. You have to be disciplined about your money. When your money comes in, where is it going to? Is it going to your education, your development? Is it going to your investment for the future? Such that when that opportunity comes up, you have the right resources to do it. Number two, are you disciplined about, you have to be disciplined about your energy. Some of you spend your energy scrolling. I've when some people, I see some comment. I know that that's not the kind of people that are on this call today. Because if you cannot be on this call today and think that way. But you have to be disciplined about your energy. Not everything you'll be, see, not everything, see, life is one. Not everything that requires your energy. Conserve your energy for what is ahead of you. Number three, you have to be disciplined about your attention. Anything that commands your attention has commanded your life. I believe we all know that attention is currency, right? That's how Mark Zuckerberg is making money today. Your attention. He just needs you on that profile, your attention. Once he can get that attention and that traffic, he's making money. Advertisers are making money. So you, as an individual, have to think about how to command attention if you want to command currency in today's time and age. In today's economy, we all know that attention is currency. Hallelujah. Number four, we have to be disciplined about our time. In a nutshell, you have to be disciplined about your meat, your money, your energy, your attention, your time. Some of us see you have 24 hours, but some people use 24 hours to create results. Why some people use 24 hours to complain and worry and say that things are not moving forward? And no, that same 24 hours, you have to be disciplined about your time. Right now, I have the time that I've dedicated to this, and that's what I'm doing here. After this, I'm going somewhere else. You have to be disciplined about your time because your time is your life. The next driver there is resourcefulness. See, if you cannot use what you have, you cannot be innovative. People think that, oh, to be able to be innovative, I have to get something new. So they are going to get one shiny thing. No, it is from using the one that you have. As you begin to develop expertise and credibility, you become more innovative because people begin to come to you. So use what you have currently. For some of you, when I started my podcast, before I became top 10 in Canada in personal development, it was one day I just said, you know what? Let me start this podcast. It was my laptop, microphone, a message. I just recorded the intro. Some of you right now, you have the resources to do what you can do, but you're waiting for more gadgets, more phones. I tell people, if money is the first thing you think about when you're trying to get anything done, you are not going to do anything. Money is the last. The first thing in your, I mean, there are so many things, but money should be the last thing. Capital should be the last thing. Your ideas, your resources, what you currently have should be the priority. Use what you have. In today's day, to design the life that you want, you must be using what you have at every point in time. I wrote here again, courage. For you to be innovative, you have to be courageous. You have to be able to try new things. You have to be able to move to something else. If you feel like this is what you're called to do, jump into it. I remember I told you my story. I've done several things leading to where I am today. And I'm still going to some different things that I will not share now. But the life that you desire, if you're going to design it, you have to be courageous. You have to have the courage to try it and fail. To try it and people say, "What are you even doing?" To try it and people say, "Oh, your video is not even clear. The quality of the camera is not even clear. The quality of the light is not even clear. Oh, you're not even ready. Go and get." No, you have to be courageous to take no, accept rejections. And the last bucket there is impact. This one is so important because you can design the life that you want without factoring in the people that you were called to, the people that you were sent to, who your life would benefit. A life worth designing is a life that impacts others. I remember then, back in the day, I was listening to it was Samadem and I learned this principle of the pyramid of I think the what do you call that pyramid again? I think the Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs, and at the bottom there you have people who are survival, at the top there is significance. He said most people are always fighting for the survivor, but if you are conscientious enough and you are wise enough and visionary enough, you realize that to get what you want in life, you have to go to the top where you are looking to contribute and add value to other people's life because every other thing will be added to you. And I apply that principle. I remember when I came to Canada, I have not gotten a job, but I was coaching people. Back in this, I was organizing conferences. I was adding life to people. I was adding value to people, and that's how life began to fall in the pleasant places for me. Most people say life will fall. There's this for convention. Life will fall before me in pleasant places. The pleasant places is where you have prepared, and you have watered, and you have catered for, and you have helped. That's where the life will fall before you in pleasant places. I wrote down here, the huge determinant of designing the life you want and having it is when it adds value to others. If you help people get what they want, you will get what you want. So we're going to talk about the three drivers that help you make impact. Because trust me, the people today we look up to who are where we want to be, who have designed the life that they want, factor in this part of impact. It doesn't matter where your background, it doesn't matter what you have, where you are, you can begin to make impact today. Number one is contribution. Having a mindset of contribution. I tell people, even job seekers, when I coach job seekers, I said if you can remove your mind from a job seeker to a service provider or contributor, you approach your job seeking differently. Because now you're not looking to give me, you are looking to add, such that you can now begin to think about solutions and ways you can begin to add value in the public that your right employer would be attracted to you. For one of the jobs I got here when I got to Canada was when I was volunteering somewhere, adding value and coaching, right? So you have to have a contributor's mindset, a service mindset. You have to design your life in such a way that it adds value to others. And that's how you go and check anybody you see today making impact, who is at the top of their career, who is doing what they are making impact. Some of them might not be doing it in a way that aligns with your values, but they're adding value. They're contributing either by making money and profiting from it or by just helping people in general. But you have to have the contributors mindset. Number two, we have to have a creator mindset. We have to create something. So out of you right now, even if you're working 9 to 5, you have to ask yourself, what have I created for myself that is an entity that can be of value to others? Because number one, that's how you make income. That's how you generate wealth, right? You have to think about creating something, not just consuming. You have to use your talent, your gift, your skill, right? So when I was working 9 to 5, I'm creating content. I am creating podcast. I am adding value here and there because I realize that when I create all of these things, that is how value will be coming back to me. So you have to have a contributor mindset. You have to be creating something, create something, a book, whatever it is, a software. You have to. We are on a platform today called Zoom because someone created it. So let there be a platform, let there be something that can be attached to your name that you created. And I tell people that what you're remembered for oftentimes is by the things that you have created. We are called to be creators here on earth. And the last driver there is connection. Huh. This is so important. That's why someone will say, "Oh, why are you having so much connection on LinkedIn?" Let me tell you something. The kind of people that I've met today that I would never have met if I was not connecting, that our paths would never have crossed if I was not adding value and building and creating and contributing and intentionally connecting with them. You cannot do it on your own. You have to build meaningful and relationship and collaborations. I remember, some time ago when I was in Nigeria, I was part of a conference and all, and the person who's organizing the conference, because I went there, to connect with him, and when he came to Canada, he invited me to come to his conference to come and add value. That's because we've built a relationship. So, what are your connections today? Look around you. The five people surrounding you today is how you're designing your life. So some of you have to go back today and go and audit your relationship. See, let me tell you, you can never be sentimental about relationship. You can never be sentimental about the people you have around you because when you look around the five people today, around even, I'm not going to say your partner because that's your life. You have set that is for life. But the friends, the connections, the people you have today are shaping your tomorrow. You cannot desire a great life and not connect with others. You cannot. You cannot. And sometimes people will say, "Oh, you are not, and that's not to say that you should. I mean, if you are introvert, yeah, I know. Like I'm an introvert, but I realize that certain things will not happen without human, without physical people. Every life, everything you desire in life will be passed. Even if you pray to God, will come through people. The level of your connection will determine the level of the impact that you make. I'm telling you, like you can tell the things you are doing today, the value you are adding today in society changed at the moment you met some certain people. Go and check it. There were certain people you met in your journey and things started changing. You started attracting the right people. You started attracting the right opportunities. You started doing things differently. You started thinking differently. So you have to be intentional about your connection. I'm going to stop there because I know that I've gone past my time, but I'm going to close with these few thoughts and I'm going to open it up for questions. Now, these few thoughts are things that I've shared before, but I just want to, you know, I take them as lessons that I've learned over the years, and you can apply it to what you're trying to do today. I've said a lot of things, but I want you to take some of these things that I'm going to be sharing with you today. Closing thoughts. Number one, mindset is everything. No matter the challenges you face, your mindset will keep you going even when everything around you says otherwise. Your mindset is everything. So you have to guide your mind. You have to. You have to feed your mind. You have to grow your mind. If you are investing in properties or whatever you're doing, you're investing in your business and you're not investing your mind, that business, before you know it, is going to come down. Your business will rise to the level of your mindset. Wherever you are today will rise the level of your mindset. Number two, do not underestimate your worth, no matter where you find yourself, no matter what you're going through today. Your worth is not measured by your current condition. Someone has to write that today. Your worth is not measured by your current condition. Number three, create a vision board. Somebody's going to go today and capture the future. And see, some people say it's motivational. Let me tell you, it is I've applied it. There are things that I put on my vision board that I have seen to some of my wife will say, this thing you put on vision board, we have done it too. It will just because you have painted a picture of a desirable future and your subconscious is working towards that. So go create a vision board of the next 5 years, the next 2 years, the next 10 years, because your life, your family, your destiny depends on it. Don't go life just going as it is. What will be. No. What will be is what you determine it to be. Number four, surround yourself with people who desire growth in their life as much as you do. If they don't desire growth as much as you do, they are going to tear you down. They are not going to push you. Then see, you have to find people that desire growth, even if they are not within your location. Find them abroad. Find them outside. Go online. Join a community. I think Read NG have the community. Join the community. Number five, choose wisely the advice you follow. Otherwise, you will end up repeating other people's negative experiences. I'm going to say that again. Choose wisely the advice you follow. Otherwise, you will repeat other people's negative experiences. This is a life lesson I'm sharing with you here. Number seven or number six, embrace visibility. For some of you, you say I don't like social media. I don't like anything online. Let me tell you, you are doing yourself a disservice. In this day and age of AI, even your job is at risk of you not being visible. Either visible online, visible offline within the organization, you have to prioritize visibility. Get seen. If you do a good work, let your good work be known. Let your good work be known. Beyond your job, maximize your gift. If you're doing 9 to 5, that's fine. Do something else. Maximize your gift. Maximize that passion. Make your passion practical. Don't say I'm passionate about this. Make it practical. Do something about it. Because that's what will make room for you. It's not your job, oh. See, let me tell you, it's not your job. The room you are looking to enter is not your job that will open that door for you. It is the gift, it is the talent, it is the passion that will open those doors. I can tell you for free. The next one is pace yourself, right? Don't be pressured by someone else's timeline. This one is very important because now we are living in an age where people are pressured. They see social media and they're like, Lagbaja is here. Where am I today? Look at what I am doing. No, 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 no. Pace yourself. You know you. You know what you're pursuing. You know the life you're designing. Pace yourself. Your journey is different. It is you against you. It's not you and someone else. There's no competition. Yes, you're competing in the marketplace, but in your journey of life, it's you. You determine how you show up. You determine what you do. Don't be driven by all that is going on social media and all, no, those are distractions. Center in, zone in, focus on you, and pace yourself. And the last one, and this one is so important. Show up even when you don't feel ready. There are certain opportunities that will not meet you when you're ready. Opportunities oftentimes doesn't meet you ready. In fact, ready is the state of mind. I tell people, ready is a state of mind that I would do it and then I'm ready while I'm doing it. Show up for the life that you desire. Show up for the life that you desire. Believe that it gets better from here. Show up. You're living so. I told someone when I was getting married, I showed up for the life that I wanted to. Hey, I showed up even while living in the BQ. You wouldn't even know. I showed up. Dress well. Show up. Look the part. Right? Don't say, oh, because I don't have this thing, I will not go. No. Step into those rooms like you were meant to be there. Because you were meant to be there. Because it's only when you step into those rooms that they will recognize you. Oftentimes we shy away, some of us, who, so to speak, have attained a level of success. We feel like there's a level we have gotten to that we are too shy to show up, or we are too, and it's ego sometimes. But we must realize that certain opportunities will not show up until we show up. I'm going to stop here and leave it up for questions.
Wow, woo, wow, wow, woo. Like, please, can I see your reactions in the chat room? Can I see your reactions? Emeka, that was beyond amazing. Thank you so, 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 so very much. when we reached out to you, you spoke about your tight schedule, which we really understand. And we said 30 minutes, you've done 1 hour and it's been super, super amazing. I'm just going to give room for just one question because the second speaker is here already. So please, one question. Can you raise up your hand while I yield the mic to you? He said so much. He said so much. Catherine from Uganda. So Catherine was in our, I think, second cohort of Read, and Catherine has been super, super, super amazing. But let me just say a question. Don't let me tell a story. Catherine, please, can you speak? If you can turn on your camera, if your camera ready, that would be beautiful. If not, please unmute your mic and speak. Catherine, please unmute your mic. Network should not do this to us. So one of the things that really, really tripped me with Catherine's story, and that's why I'm glad and is up. I think it was last year, 2 years ago. She was in the US for I think 6 weeks for one of Nelson Mandela's program, and her story is just amazing. She's doing a very beautiful job in Uganda. Catherine is a teacher. She picks kids off the street and she trains them. Amazing, amazing, amazing story. I'm sure she's going to connect to you on Facebook. I said on Facebook, on LinkedIn now. Kike, please, can we? Something is happening to your speaker. Okay, please, can you quickly type so that we can? You would ask later. He's about to go off, so you have to ask now. So please, can you just type it? And Kike, please, can we have Emeka's LinkedIn handle in the chat so that people can connect to him? You really need to read his stories. You need to read his stories. His stories are amazing. Can we have one person ask question while Catherine types in a question? So this is how a second person gets a chance. Okay, for the sake of our time, for the sake of our time, Emeka, you said a lot about motivation, about seeing it, and all of that. And this is a journey personally I've undertaken a lot of time, and I'm still in some journey in a stage in my life. The question I want to ask is, how do you handle discouragement? It's not easy moving from Yanopaja and all of those places to becoming one of the top 10 podcasts in Canada. When we say these stories, it sounds very nice. And if you are not careful, the religious people will say, the God that did it for Emeka, that God is going to do it for me. But I always say there are a lot of people out there that they never passed that finish mark because discouragement finished them. So, how were you able to move beyond discouragement? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very great question to me, thank you so much. Um, Now the thing is, discouragement will always come, right? But one thing that should keep you going is the fact that you, and that's why I always say that when you have a strong purpose, when you have a strong why, that you are that you are created to make impact, you are created for more. Even when discouragement comes, that why will keep you going. Even when it feels like you're not making headway, that why am I doing what I'm doing? Why do I want to make impact? Why do I want to be more? I mean, in fact, the fact is you realize that the life that you want, that you desire, will not come without a fight.
Mm.
And the fact that if you give up, that's when you've lost it. That should keep you going. Because what I've realized is that when I remember that the journey of life will require, I mean, if you look at designs, there are times where you make errors. There are times where you have to clean and all. But the desirable outcome, the picture that you, and that's why I always tell people, have a picture. Because when you have a picture, a mental picture, or even the physical picture of the desired outcome, it keeps you going in terms of the current that this is where I'm going to. If I want to get there, I have to realize that nothing can discourage me. No matter where I find myself, no matter how much, I mean, I remember when I came to Canada, people say, oh, I, if you talk about discouragement, some people at some point you're like, you want to just go back to Nigeria. Like, I think I was doing well, you know, but when you realize that the life that you have called to live and it will require you to keep fighting because the desirable outcome is so important because not just you alone, for those who are coming behind you, for those who your life you have been sent to, you have to keep staying the course. So no matter the discouragement, no matter what the challenges you face, you have to stay the course because it's only is he who gives up that will lose. It's he who keeps fighting that will win. So that's one thing that keeps me going. That if I keep fighting one more round, more trial, one more
Wow.
trial, I will get that result. But when I've allowed discouragement and challenges to weigh me down, and which it would, that's why you have to surround yourself with the right people. You have to make sure your mindset is intact. You have to surround yourself with the right resources. That's how you're going to navigate these challenges because you would always have those things in your mind that tells you that yes, more is possible, but you have to keep going.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. Let's quickly have Catherine's question, and I love please, you guys, you've seen his LinkedIn. Go and read. We know that a number of us want to Japan. I always say there's no problem with that. That's another conversation. But I remember reading one of his stories that he was talking about when he just got to Canada and he almost lost his limbs to frostbite. You remember that?
Oh
Like
my
I think I read
goodness.
that story like 3 times.
At the point I said, who sent me here? God. Why even this coldest part of Canada? You know? But and again, one thing I've realized, I tell people that that's why when you live life by design, you are not moved by the challenges you face. You are moved by the course. You are moved by your purpose. So even when those times were tough, I'm telling you, people have left this province because of how tough it is in cold. But I realized that the life I wanted to design was a quiet life. Trust me, I lived in Lagos. So I don't want to live in Toronto. I don't want to live in Ontario. I just want a quiet place that I can drive 10 minutes and it's family oriented. And I said, that's what I'm so despite the cold. So you have to have a design in ahead, or otherwise you'll be moved here and there. Is Catherine going to ask a question?
Yeah,
Or
she's
you
asked the
can.
question, and I love the question. She says, "Thank you so much. My question is personality. I'm
Mm.
very empathetic, and I found that people use that against me. So for people that they are mumu button, so to say, and that, I will explain that since Catherine is not Nigerian, so I'm not sure Catherine understands what mumu button is. Okay, so for people that they can easily play on your emotions and use that against you, and if you're not careful, you are running other people's dream. You know, you've spoken about being disciplined with your money. As the money is coming into your hands, different stories is carrying it out.
Ah,
How do you
when you are here, you will see more of it because here, it's assumed that yes, So if you are not disciplined, so let me adjust, and that's a very important question because we are living in a world today where people distractions are not just from society, it's from friends and family. And I tell people, and yeah, sorry, maybe that friend is so close to you, but yes, there are distractions. And the truth is, when you, and to answer your question, number one, you have to set boundaries. And truth is, you might, in this journey of life, of designing your life, you have to learn to say no. You have to learn to stand your ground. Sometimes it'll be uncomfortable for you, but if you want to design your life, you've got to be very, I mean, you have to be ruthless about that. Ruthless about, and I don't know what, how people use that. If it's money, if it's time, if it's energy, if it's attention, you have to be ruthless about these four things. Because I think this is where life, this is everything in life revolves around this. Because is it that they are trying to manipulate you to take money from you, or they're trying to manipulate you to get your energy on things that doesn't matter, on things that shouldn't, So I don't have time to fight or quarrel. Why should I even be in that kind of conversation? Right? Or people that want to manipulate you, to get what they want. I mean, you have to stand your ground and say no, and no is no. So I think for people who are very empathetic, who love to consider others, I think one way to look at it is this. Being empathetic means that you're always thinking about others when you're making a decision. Now, the way to look at it is because your life, you are not sent to one person or individual unless you are sent to the world. And for you to be able to make an impact and to reach out to your world, you have to realize that you have to sacrifice the pleasure of pleasing some set of people to be able to impact other people. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So that means that I will have to say no to this person because I have other people that I have to say yes to. So even if, and that's why, and that's how I look at it, because this person or whoever that person is or the organization, you are one tiny misc in my journey of life. And even if me saying no to you or standing my ground with you is going to mean that you're not going to be in alignment with me, there are 1 million and billion people that I'm also called to. So when you have empathy towards those people that you're called to, probably you've never met them, you realize that you have to make a sacrifice to say no to this person today. I don't know if that answers your question.
Wow, that was amazing. I put it there. You need to learn to say no and be ruthless. Ladies and gentlemen, like we can go on and on and on, but we have to release Emeka. Please follow him. Yeah, Catherine says, wow. Please follow him, connect to him on LinkedIn. This is not just a webinar. This has been transformational. Lives has been changed. My life has been changed. I've been refired. I've been refocused. I don't get heavy brain reset. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Emeka. Please let's go on his LinkedIn on the post. I dropped a post this morning where I tagged him. I tagged Tale. Go drop your critical take homes there. Let's take the conversation further.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Emeka. I'm going to be in your DM. At this point, I will be playing Tale's profile and I'll
Thank
be
you so
bringing you.
much. Have a great session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Emeka. I would
All
really
right.
appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. I'm sharing Tale's profile now and we'll be seeing her. Okay, wait. Uh, uh, uh. Okay.
Tale Alimi is a 3X founder and entrepreneurial thought leader who has consulted for, coached and spoken to over 5,000 small businesses and corporate teams on topics such as sales strategy, business growth, marketing, and scaling a business. She is the author of two books, the well-received Up-Level and the newly released Small to Scale book. She has been featured as an entrepreneur expert in major newspapers like Guardian, Business Day, Sun, and This Day. She has also been invited to speak on business topics on television programs on Arise TV, Silverbird TV, and Ebony Life TV. She is a Starting Block Fellow.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Kale comes up, and I'm just waiting for her to come up. So for people that don't know, at some point in my life, nothing when Musa never do for ghetto, I'd believed that I would make a career out of makeup. So I actually went to go and learn how to do makeup. And this beautiful damsel was my teacher. I remember going to her house in the Kenya. Telling that to be some about 20 years ago. And yes, I had problems drawing eyebrows. I never let that thing. God bless the people that now started this, what they call it now, microblading. Saves me a lot of stress. Now, what am I saying? We'll be listening to lots of real life applications from Tale. She's a woman that I've watched across time transit a lot of things, take life as it comes. Because, sometimes when you read people's story, we just listen to Emeka, and you see, this is the beginning. Like that was our first session, and it was that hot. We are just taking it further. I've seen Tale take on life. Like life did not take her; she's taking on life, and I've seen her at each stage take a step, more steps. She's going to be sharing real life practical stories with us today, and I can assure you that your future self would bless you that you came in for this webinar. And also, please, it is not over yet. I need for you to be dropping on your WhatsApp, talk to your friends. And I know some people that are telling me, I'm bringing people into this thing. As in 5 minutes after listening to Emeka, like, no, 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 no. More people need to hear this. So please, we are still on bringing more people, because right now we are talking about from personal finance to generational wealth. She's literally going to be taking on from where Emeka stopped from. You remember one of the things Emeka said is that for you to be able to create that life that you are dreaming of, you have to be able to impact people. Your life cannot be only about you. That's a very small life. Thank you very much, Tale, and over to you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Tino, thank you for having me. I just noticed that my background is not very bright, but you will all bear with me. I've been on the road, but I'm glad to be here. So what I want everyone to do is here, can you put an emoji, use one of the reaction signs and tell me how you're feeling. So if you're feeling excited, maybe I'll see some fire emojis. If you're feeling, happy, maybe a love emoji. So I want to see the emojis to see how everybody here is feeling about being here today. Maybe from what you learned from Emeka's session, or maybe an aha moment. So can I see the emojis? Because me, I like interactive sessions. So I'm looking out for your emojis before I start my session. So in case your community is a serious community, the emojis are going to tell me what I should be expecting. Okay, let me look at the comment. Okay, I can see some fire emoji. Yep. I can see the dance emoji. Yep. I can see heart emoji, love emoji. Okay. Clapping emoji. Amazing. I love it. I love the energy. So you're already showing me your energy. Okay. So thank you so much. I think that this topic from personal finance generational wealth is important. Oh, I love all the emojis. Okay, I can see the hand claps. Yay, excited, excited, excited. Fantastic, good. So the energy in the room is great. Okay, so I love to do sessions that are interactive, and that's what I expect of you. I expect you, everyone, to be present, to interact, and to basically just engage with this presentation. And I pray that it's a presentation that will leave you with an aha moment, and it will also help you to go and reflect and change your life, basically. Now, the first question I asked in my presentation is, do you believe wealth is possible for your family? So what I want you to do now is to drop a 1 if you believe, drop a 2 if you don't believe or you're not sure. So let me see the comments. I'm looking at the comments. So 1, if you believe, do you believe wealth is possible for your family? Because talking about generational wealth, fantastic. I love it. Yep, 1, 1, 1, 1. Fantastic. So we have a lot of positive people. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. A big fat 1. Yes. I love it. Big fat ones. I love big fat ones. Amazing. So I want to share a story with you, and I always say the story. Now, if you listen to my introduction, I've done a lot of business coaching and starting multiple businesses, like Itudu rightly said. But one of the things that happened to me over the years is I have multiple qualifications in finance, right? I have a first degree in accounting. I have an MBA. I'm just completing my doctorate in financial inclusion. I love this one, yeah? But I found out that despite my multiple degrees in finance, which should automatically make me a billionaire, right? I found out that for years, I had the knowledge, but I was not able to implement the knowledge. And I used to ask myself why. Because again, I could manage money, right? I have the knowledge. But why wasn't I translating this knowledge to become a billionaire? I started multiple businesses. I'm a 3X founder and all that. So at this point, I should be a billionaire, right? Just in case you ask your question, why am I not a billionaire? All right. However, I found out that despite all, the knowledge I had about finance, it wasn't translating to me making a lot of money. And I started to ask myself questions. I said there must be another way because I have the knowledge, business knowledge. I have the finance knowledge. I have multiple degrees in all those things, right? Which is why this generation says school is scam, right? But it's not true. But again, there's context to it, right? But it was not translating to plenty money in my account. And that's when I became very, very interested in money mindset. And so if you visit any of my Instagram posts, my Instagram page, I do a lot of content around money mindset or wealth mindset, right? Because in going through my journey, I unlocked the fact that the reason why, even though I had the head knowledge, it was not translating to physical cash in my account was that the mindset was the block that I needed to unlock to bridge the gap from head knowledge to actual cash in my account. So my presentation today is going to address both the physical cash and then the mindset thing. And I'm going to build a bridge, okay, from what's happening in your mind that might be affecting your finances to actually beginning to build the wealth that will now transcend across generations. Right. Now, before I do that, I want to share a sobering statistics. Let me start. Okay. 70%, according to Reuters, I saw this in Reuters, 70% of families lose their wealth by the second generation, right? And it's very simple. So I did an analysis here. In the first generation, people work really hard. They work really hard to build wealth. They probably are coming from poverty or they are coming from a certain lack and they work really hard. They make sacrifices. Okay. They go through hardships and they are determined. And through their sacrifice, their hard work and their hardship, they actually build a comfortable life. Okay. And this is now what they pass on to the next generation. Okay. So I don't know how many of you are like that, but my father came from a very poor family. His father was a cocoa farmer, right? He was able to make his way because he was very intellectually intelligent, brain intelligent. And because of that, he was able to make his way out of that poor background. And because of the sacrifice and the hard work, he was able to give us a more comfortable life. And so I am the second generation. So with the next generation, because I saw my parents struggle, it has made me very frugal. Okay, it has made me very frugal. It has made me very focused, and I have understanding about their struggles. And now I'm able to manage money better because I saw my parents, I saw their struggles, and I saw the sacrifices they made to give me a comfortable life. Now, so that's the second generation. The third generation, however, is a generation that was born in comfort. Okay, so recently I went to see my son out of the country, and we were ordering. Because anytime I'm not in the country, I don't like to cook, to be honest. So we were ordering food, and then I gave him the app to order his food. When I saw what he's ordered, I was like, oh my God, this child was born in so much comfort that he didn't even care about how much it cost. I had to caution him. I said, nope, you can't order all that food. Okay, you have to choose what. So I had to put some caution to him because I realized that because he grew up with so much comfort, he did not understand the value of being disciplined. He did not understand the value of having some form of restraints in finances, okay? And so that's what happens in a lot of generations. So by the third generation, because things are so easy for them, they're enjoying plenty and they don't even know how the money was made, okay? If their parents did not, teach them or help them to have that understanding, at the end of that generation, they might lose the money because they didn't know what it took for that money to be made. So that is why generational wealth doesn't translate across a lot of families, okay? And, years ago, I had a friend who said to me, his father died, he was the first son, he inherited a lot of money. And by the time I met him, he was at the end of that money. And I was asking him, how come you inherited so much money and you are almost broke, And you know what he said to me? He said, my father left me a lot of money, but he didn't teach me how to manage the money. Now, I had a pause. I said, interesting. So his father sacrificed, worked hard, left him an inheritance. And once his father died, he squandered the money. He bought a lot of cars. By the time I met him, he had like 3 cars, a Range Rover, a BMW. Nothing wrong with a good life, but he didn't work for the money. Bought a Range Rover, bought a BMW. He used to ride bikes. He had multiple bikes. I mean, he filled himself with a lot of luxury, but he didn't know how to invest the money. So, and by the time, in less than 5 years, his inheritance had been squandered because his father left him the money, but he didn't take responsibility to get the knowledge, and he squandered the money, and he went back to the level he was, which is the level of sacrificing that he saw his father make, which is another thing why mindset is very, very important, okay? So this is usually what happens. Wealth doesn't translate to the third generation, except the individuals who are making the money or managing the money intentionally pass the knowledge across generations, okay? Now, there are 3 non-negotiables if you want to go from personal finance to generational wealth. If you want to build money that's sustainable, first of all, build it for yourself, okay? Because I think that it will be sad if the generations after us have to make the sacrifices that we make, right? It'll be very sad if we can't build something, okay? I'm a Christian, and one of the things that the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And this is not just masculine. This is everybody who's a man, male or female, right? Leaves an inheritance. So basically, it'll be sad if we don't leave something for the next generation. And for you to be able to prepare yourself to do that, there are 3 things that are important. The first thing is your mindset, okay? Your mindset. I shared my story earlier that I had a lot of head knowledge about finances. It wasn't translating until I started to look at the mindset piece, because it is who you are that creates what you have, all right? It is who you are that creates what you have. If you don't become the kind of person that can attract the kind of things you desire, you will not attract it, all right? That's why they say you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So a lot of the times you might say, I want a Range Rover. Okay, like I want a Range Rover, right? But you have to become the person who can drive that Range Rover. You have to become the person that owns the Range Rover. You have to operate from the level as the person who has or can drive the Range Rover. So in life doesn't give you what you want. Life gives you what you are, and it gives you what you believe you are worthy of. All right? So even though you just say, I want a Range Rover, but in your mind, they're saying, all those people that have Range Rover, maybe they are thieves. All those people that have Range Rover, what have they done to get it? Okay? Your mind is doubting what your words are speaking. So there is no coherence between what you're saying and what you're manifesting. Okay? And that is why your mindset is the number 1 key if you want to build any type of wealth or any type of prosperity. It all starts in the mind. That's why, for me, I've created a few courses on mindset, because mindset is the foundation of everything, right? Mindset is the foundation of everything. If you don't get your mind right, you won't get your money right, okay? And that's why I wrote here, you have to move from I need money to money needs me, okay? For I need money to, how can I create the value to manifest the money? How can I create the value that will call in the money, okay? That would, take me to the level that I need to be. And money needs you. Why does money need you? Money needs you because money is energy, okay? I always say money is energy, and money needs to circulate. And if you are not doing anything that's making money circulate, you are keeping money stagnant. So money needs people who can circulate it. Because when you circulate it, you keep it flowing to the world. When you circulate it, you actually add value to the world. And as a reward for sowing, you will reap a harvest of money. Okay. And that is why you need to, first of all, work on your mindset. All right. So, what are the things you're saying to yourself? What are the things you're thinking about based on maybe your upbringing, your background, and everything? You need to basically work on your mindset to bring about transformation. Okay. Because your mindset is everything. Everything rises and falls by how you think. That's why, I mean, there's a woman I always used to say, if you can think it, you can do it. If you can think it, you can be it. So it first starts in your mind. You create from your mind, okay? You call things that be not as though they are from your mind. Your mind is the center point of your creation and innovation, which then creates financial abundance and creates wealth, which should then lead to generational wealth. Okay, so I kind of emphasize it. And I have a mindset course that I'll talk about at the end of this presentation that will definitely transform your life. Okay, the second thing is automate. So let me explain to you what this means. Now, a lot of us are trying to build wealth by working harder. Okay, you know that myth of work hard enough. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of financially independent, financially free people have created systems that create wealth. So if you're trying to work harder to create wealth, that is not the wise way to create wealth. All right. A lot of wise people have leveraged systems. Okay. And there are things like other people's money. Okay, where you leverage the system of bringing together other people's monies to create wealth. There are things like OPT, other people's time, where you leverage other people's time to create wealth. Okay, and then there are things like other people's systems, where you leverage other people's systems to create wealth. What do I mean by other people's systems? If you use an app to save, for example, right, and the app automatically deducts a certain amount of money from your account every month without you having to do anything, that's a system. So that system is creating wealth for you, whether or not you work, right? So you can use OPT, OPM, or OPR to create wealth, okay? And you can automate the process. So you don't get wealthy by working hard. No, you actually get wealthy by building systems that ensure that you keep creating money. So for example, I have created some systems that whether or not I work today, I actually earn money. Okay, so it took me a while. So I'm not talking about, oh, this was magical. Like I said to you, I had to deal with mindset blocks, which is why I'm passionate about money mindset, right? But I've created systems now that whether or not I am sleeping or I'm awake, I am making money. So I don't need to go and work hard to make money. Why? Because I found out the power of other people's system. I leverage those systems to ensure that my money is working for me, so that whether I'm sleeping or I'm awake, I am making money. All right. So what that means is that now I work because I have leveraged systems. I can now work and do things that God has told me to do or that I'm passionate about. So I don't work now because I have to make money. No, I work now because by the grace of God, I have created systems that allow me to earn money, such that when I do things now, I don't do them primarily to make money. I do them because I'm passionate about it. I feel led to do it. You know, I know something that will add value to people, and I create value for other people. So that's why I do it. Okay. So that's the power of leveraging systems. The third non-negotiable is asset over liabilities, right? So basically, what does this mean? It means that when you have assets, so let me explain to you in practical terms, because you know we hear motivational speakers, they say this, they don't tell us practically. Let me explain to you what it is. I wanted to buy an iPhone, right? So you know what I did? I made an investment, and I decided I wasn't going to use my capital to buy the iPhone. I made an investment, and from the income that came from that investment, I bought my iPhone. I didn't touch the capital. Right? So the income from that investment bought me an iPhone. So it's not like I'm not enjoying my life. I'm just wise enough not to enjoy my life from my capital. Right? So I used my capital to invest in an asset. That asset created value for me. I took out of the interest and bought myself an iPhone, but my capital remained intact and it went back to work for me. Okay? So a lot of times that's what I do, right? I wanted to travel to a certain country. I created value, and out of that value I created, I paid for my ticket. So asset over liabilities every time. Because if you take your capital and you spend your capital, that's the end of it. But if you take your capital, you put it in something that is a value creation machine, okay? You create value, you can still live a good life, you can still enjoy yourself. For those of you that like enjoyment like me, you can still enjoy yourself, but you just enjoyed yourself in a smart way. Okay, so those are the three non-negotiables: your mindsets, your systems, and prioritizing assets over liability. Okay. Is anybody learning something? Let me know in the comments. Are you learning? Are you learning? Are you learning? Okay. So let's go to the next point. Now, there are a few high impact vehicles that can help you create money. Now, we say invest in assets, do this, do that. But again, people will say, what kind of assets should I invest in? Now, a few assets that I understand, I always say invest in things that you understand. Please. As at now, I've heard people say that they are Bitcoin billionaires and Bitcoin billionaires. I don't understand Bitcoin. That's number one. Number two, the other reason why I personally don't invest in Bitcoin is that because I'm an accountant, one of the things that we always do in finance is we want to know what is the fundamental value of any asset. Okay. So before a thing is called an asset, what is the underlying value of that asset? If you can't see any underlying value, it's hard as an accountant. There's something called prudence concept. So it's not easy for me. So I don't invest in Bitcoin because I don't understand Bitcoin. But some people understand it and they say they made a lot of money from it. Okay. The few things that I believe in, that I've invested in, and I'm still investing in, is rental income. So if you, and there are multiple ways to make money from real estate. There's rental income, there's real estate, there's arbitrage, okay, where you can be the middleman in an investment. There are multiple ways to make money in real estate, but I don't want to emphasize it. But that is something that I invest in, and I believe is a way, because if you look at a balance sheet, if you are a finance person, one thing that's always appreciating is real estate. Other assets can depreciate. A car can depreciate, but real estate will always appreciate, because the value of land or value of a property will most likely go up, except in exceptional situations. Okay, so I'm a big fan of real estate, and it doesn't have to be buying a property directly. There are multiple ways to play with real estate, but I'm not going to go into the details of that. But it's something that I believe in, and I believe in. Another thing I believe in is dividends. Okay, and you can get dividends from multiple things. Basically, you can invest in a mutual fund, okay, which is a fund that basically pulls money together and lends and buy government bonds or government treasury bills and things like that. So it's more or less secure. The interest is not massive, but at least it's better than keeping your money idle, because if you keep your money idle, you're losing against the inflation. If you put your money in a vehicle like that, you mostly are getting against the inflation. Another thing, you can invest in stocks. But again, before you invest in stocks, like I always say, only invest in what you know. All right. Now, for example, last year I invested in 2 stocks. One of them I invested in because I did my due diligence. I did my research. I looked at their numbers, and I realized that if I buy the stock, it's going to appreciate. That stock, I made 30% on that stock in 10 months. I invested in another one because somebody persuaded me to invest. The person persuaded me, or I didn't know that the person had targets, but she persuaded me so much, I bought it. As of now, the price has been dropping. But the good thing is, if you don't get money from capital appreciation, you can get money from dividends. So even though I can't sell the stock right now because the price has been dropping, it's better to hold it long term. I've been getting dividends from that particular stock. Okay, so in other words, you don't lose if you don't sell, basically. Actually, if the fundamentals of the company are good. Okay, so that's another way that I made money. But the most important one is what I call your intellectual property, which is why I believe in when they say invest in yourself first. That thing, I believe there's something in you that will add value to other people. There's something in you that somebody is praying for. Who will teach me this? Who knows this? Who can I help? So I did my doctorate in financial inclusion, right? Actually, gender financial inclusion. since I was rounding up my doctorate, I get people who consult with me, all right, to create programs for financial inclusion. I didn't know that it was going to be a source of money, right? But I'm actually making money from it because there's something that that other people need, right? That you can add value to them. So I believe 100% in investing in yourself. All these other things might fade, but when you invest in yourself, it will give you multiple returns over time because it's yourself, right? So when you invest in your knowledge, when you invest in your skills, it is going to be a gift that keeps on giving on. So, and sometimes you might even know something that you're not even monetizing because in your mind, you're saying, but who will need to know this? You'll be very shocked at what you know that a lot of people don't know that you can monetize. Okay, so intellectual property is a high impact vehicle. I remember talking to a finance coach 3 years ago, and she's a very popular financial coach in Nigeria. And so I was like, so what is making money now? She said she cannot lie to me. Herself is what's making money. That her intellectual property is what's making her money. Even though she was a finance coach, she had an investment club, multiple in an investment club. That year, things were rough. People were not making money. But the thing that was making money for her was intellectual property. The things that she knew that people were willing to pay her for to either consult or speak or whatever it is. So your intellectual property, if you want to know where can I start with yourself. Okay, there's something that you have that maybe you need to refine, you need to develop more. Okay, you need to monetize that will create the capital for you to then put in these other vehicles that from there you can now spend out of the extra and create the life that you desire. Okay, so I'm not one to say don't live a good life. No, I believe that this life you need to live it. You need to enjoy your life because when you are generous to yourself, you'll be able to be generous to other people. That's my personal belief. I believe that when you fill your cup, you're going to be able to fill other people's cup better. Okay? So, now, I believe that if you're on this call, one of the things that you need to do is to be the one to end your family's money trauma. Okay? You need to end your family's money trauma. Okay? You need to be the one who will say, it ends with me. All right? If your family hasn't built generational wealth, you are the one that will build the generational wealth. You are the one that will change the story of your family. Okay? So let's do this affirmation. Are we going to turn on our mics or are we going to type it by ourselves? Okay? So whichever one you prefer, I want us to do this affirmation. I am the bridge.
I am the bridge.
From lack to legacy.
From lack to legacy.
My choices today.
My choices today.
Fund tomorrow's dreams.
Fund tomorrow's dreams.
Okay, so if you don't want to say it out, please type it in the comments. I am the bridge from lack to legacy. My choices today funds tomorrow's dreams. Okay, so it's very, very important. We need to take personal responsibility to change our family's financial story. One of the things that my father told me, okay, is that he broke the backbone of poverty for our family because of the decisions he made. He came from a poor background. He was the son of a cocoa farmer, right? Not a rich cocoa farmer, a poor cocoa farmer, right? But he said, I made up my mind I was going to break the backbone of poverty for my family, all right? And by doing that, he was able to change our family's story. Now, he did that through education, right? But you can do that through better decisions, better financial management, working on your mindset, transforming your mindset, and breaking and ending your family's financial trauma. I love how we're typing it. I'm excited to see it. You are the bridge from lack to legacy. Your choices today fund tomorrow's dreams. Amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay? So I want you to say it to yourself because you are a co-creator with God. It's not only God. God needs you. God needs you to make this decision. God needs you to say, I am the bridge from lack to legacy. My choices today fund tomorrow's dreams. So because of that, you decide to make better choices. Because of that, anything you do, you must think about it. I am the bridge. Okay? So I must make the right choices. I must change the story of my family. I must break the generational trauma of my family by my decision. So you need to be the bridge. You need to make up your mind from today that you are the bridge from lack to legacy. Okay? And your choices today is going to make your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Grandpa, or thank you, Grandma, for making the right decisions that put us in this amazing, comfortable place, for choosing to reset your mind, to rewire your mind, for choosing to make better money choices, for choosing to change your story, okay, that has given us an opportunity to live a better life because you are the bridge from lack to legacy. Okay? Okay? So let's always remember this and say this affirmation to yourself. Good. So in rounding up, I want to talk about your next 3 moves. What can you start doing now? Now, because I believe in taking action, and then I'm going to take questions. I'm going to take questions either about money mindset or about, practical financial situations, because I can talk on both angles because of my my experience. But small steps you can start. The first thing is you open a generational wealth investment account today. Okay, you can choose that this account is my generational wealth account, right? So one of the things I've done for my son is when he graduated from secondary school last year, one of the first things I did for him, I opened an investment account for him. And I was saying to my sister that his investment account, the dividends he makes, okay, from his investment accounts is almost 20% of what was invested in the account, only dividends. All right. So what I do for my son is when he's on holiday, we spend his dividend money. Let's not lie. I'm not one of those mothers that be finding sacrificial money. No, no, no. We spend dividends. We don't sacrifice, all right? Because that's wisdom. Now, I could have taken that money when he graduated and bought him something, but that will be one and done. It won't do anything for him again. The money will have finished like that. But I put in an investment account, and then it gives dividends. And then when he's around, we spend his dividends. And, we'll be balling on his dividend. But the capital still remains intact. And the capital will keep burning picking, right? To keep producing because we spend his investment money. So, one of the first thing I want to challenge you today is to open a generational wealth investment account. Remember, you are the bridge from lack to legacy. So open an account where, and to be honest, it's not a big amount of money. It is little drops of water. You're forming the habits, okay? You're forming the habits. It doesn't have to be millions. It could just be small money. It could just be 10,000 naira, or it could just be 20,000, or it could just be $10, okay? Or $20 a month. Just commit to the habits. Once you commit to the habit and start seeing momentum, you'll be so excited. You want to increase the money, okay? You want to do more. And it will now be sweeter when it now starts getting money from you. I've seen my mother. My mother is one of the smartest savers in the world. I've seen my mother double her money across 2 or 3 years by consistently investing back the capital and her interest. Because at her age, we dash her money now, so she don't really spend that money. So she will invest her capital, invest the interest, right? And she's more or less doubled her money by doing that. That consistency, the power, they call it the power of compounding interest. And they call compounding interest the eighth wonder of this world. It will transform your life. Okay? Then the second thing that I want you to do is to share what money truths with. If you have a child, or you share with your ward every week, tell them about money. When I'm with my son, I talk about money. When he wants something, I say, you know what, you can work for this thing, right? Because I want him to be conscious that he can also make money. He's not too young to make money, right? You have to put the consciousness in them that money is a tool, and they can also make tools. They can also add value. It's never too early or too late to make money, okay? And then if you want to go deeper, I have a free money mindset download. You can take your phone and scan, or your device, and either type the bit.ly link, or you can scan. On the left, I don't know whether it's your right, it's my money mindset download. That's a free download, basically, to help you work with your money mindset. But if you want to go deeper, I have what I call the Millionaire Mindset course. In that course is the exact process I use to rewire my mind and change my life. I remember when I got my aha moments, I felt like, man, I have to rush, I have to catch up. But you know the beautiful thing? Anytime you wake up is your morning. When I started to take it seriously, my life transformed very, very fast. I thought that, oh my God, I didn't start very early. It's going to take me a long, but no, there's just power in the decision to start, right? There's a power in the process. Once you start, you just see that everything begins to align, to make it possible for you. So once I woke up and I said, oh my God, this is why I've been missing. I tried to take advantage of or charge of my financial future. My life has changed tremendously. To be honest, in the last 3 years, the amount of transformation I've gone through, even me, I'm in awe. I'm shocked of how much God will work with you when you're ready to take action by yourself, basically. So these are two resources that I recommend for you. You can download the free Money Mindset download, and you can invest in yourself with the Millionaire Mindset course. Okay. And I gave a promotion to my email list, but I can extend it to you people here. So the next 3 people who invest in the course, I will also give you a complimentary 30-minute session where we can talk about your financial blueprint and help you unpack and create something that is special for you, because everybody has a unique story. Our stories are not alike, okay? I'm coming from a place, you're coming from a place, okay? But I think that everybody can also develop their unique roadmaps and still be millionaires, okay? The least you owe yourself is to be a millionaire. That's why I call it millionaire mindset. The least you owe yourself is to be a millionaire, okay? If you want to be a billionaire, it's possible for you, right? But the least you owe yourself, because it's very accessible. Being a millionaire is very accessible. Okay, how many of us are millionaires here? Let me see your hand up, or let me see your emoji. If you're a millionaire, please drop millionaire in the comments. Say millionaire. I'm looking at millionaires. How many of us are millionaires? Let me see it in the comment below. While I'm dropping it, this is my. You can follow me on Instagram and YouTube. I do a lot of content on money mindsets. So, where are the millionaires? Let me see you here. I'm a millionaire already. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Millionaire, millionaire, millionaire. Amazing. Amazing. Future millionaire. I love it. Millionaire. Amazing. Amazing. What? Amazing. Billionaire. Ha! Okay. Guilt. You're calling it, eh? Billionaire. I love it. In fact, billionaire. Glory. Glory. I'm happy to hear that. You're a billionaire. So, again, remember, the choice is yours. But what I always say is you must always remember your why. Why do you want to be a billionaire? All right. Why do you want to be a billionaire? Do you want to be a billionaire because you want to prove to people you want to be a billionaire? Or do you want to be a billionaire because you really want to create generational wealth? Okay. Make a difference in the world, add value to people, use your gifts to glorify God and serve humanity. Okay. Just make sure you clarify your motives, and it is possible for you. Okay. So that is the end of my presentation. Connect with me on Instagram and YouTube, and you will get more wealth tips to transform your mind. And now I'm open to take questions.
Well, woo, this has been super duper amazing. We started by 5:30, it's almost 8 o'clock, and the room is still full. Today's been amazing. Thank you so much, Tale. As we are diving into the question, please can you drop the link for people that want to subscribe to your newsletter? So I'm on Tale's newsletter and I still get messages, and I think that the newsletter is just absolutely fabulous. These are part of the investments. You know, one of the things that Emeka spoke about, and Tale emphasized that also, is you are the asset too. Investment in yourself is where the real value is. I don't want to speak too much. Please, if you have a question, can you raise up your hand? Do you want to type it in the chat room? Today has just been, I mean, this is the first day. And I just love it when you were just zeroing on loving yourself, taking care of yourself, because I think it's something we don't talk about well enough. And that's part of the reason why it looks as if transiting wealth to the next generation is a bit difficult. Some of these people, is not, sometimes when I interact with them, it's not really because they want to blow the money, but what you've deprived a child of, when he gets the time to do it, he's going to do it to excess. He doesn't understand that control. So because you grew seeing your parents hoarding, and they've warned me, my sister is on the call and she had warned me about personal stories, but let me just share. You guys can see my book there. I wrote that book like 2 years ago, and I shared a lot of personal stories there. So I grew up seeing my mom always keeping things. You know, when things come, you go and hide it. If care is not taken, you will have outgrown the shoe before they bring out the shoe for you to wear. And I'm like, what kind of life is this one? Why can't we use new things immediately? And you know, it kind of did some things to my mind that I didn't realize how dented it was until I was growing up, or I grew up. Right now, I'm no longer so young, and I'm like, these decisions I'm taking is because of the demons of the past, and I had to fight those demons. So please, I'm encouraging you. I've posted the scan code in our community. You cannot afford not to invest in yourself. Like, there's no way, I was, when Emeka was rounding up, I was saying it jokingly and I'm repeating it now. Like, you're hearing her say, oh, when I travel out of the country, I don't like to cook. And you're telling yourself, the God that did it for Tyler will do it for me. I am telling you, it's not cause. God does not work that way. The God that did it for Tyler will not do it for you. Let me tell you why. Because it follows processes. If you do not know the right things to do, and that's why it looks as if it is difficult to make wealth. That's why it looks as if wealth is in some circles. Because it's what you know that you will do. And if you are so stingy to yourself that you can't invest in courses, you can't invest in good programs. Emeka was talking about guarding your time. You can't guard your time. He was speaking about when he would have to spend money to attend conferences. This is what it's all about. If you cannot do all of those things, you cannot. It's a statement of fact. You cannot build generational wealth. And I love it that we've done this affirmation, that we've told ourselves. You remember how we started, for the people that started very early with us? We say, yes, Africa, this is our time. You can see me jacking my chest. Africa, this is our time. We're coming in here. We are bringing it. We are bringing in the things. We are the ones that saying enough is enough. This generation, the people on this call, we will not say that our yesterday was better than is better than our tomorrow. God forbid, we won't say that, because you see a lot of people talking and saying, oh, this is not the Nigeria I knew. When I was younger, things are better. And I had to call somebody. The guy's in his 60s now, he's a grandfather. I said, sir, this thing that you are saying is very dangerous. Because what you guys are saying is that what your fathers handed over to you, you couldn't even keep it, not to talk of making it better. They gave you an environment. You couldn't even hand over that environment. All of you, you're opening your mouth to say, no, it was not like this in our time. Who spoiled it? It's this generation.
Yeah.
So I'm challenging us now, just as she said, that we are the ones that is saying no, put an end. And I love the fact that she was able to share that story about her father. And I equally say, please, we need your money questions. So I'm just rounding up. I equally say that be able to share your story. There are a lot of people that they cannot share their story. The way they made money, we cannot give them mic. I brought in Emeka here, he's spoken. I brought in Tale here, she's spoken. And I told you, Tale is a serial entrepreneur. Like, she's always doing something, and she's doing it with serious passion. If I say this now, she's going to smile. I remember that when I came to your place in Ikeja and we're learning that makeup thingy, then your mom just came in from Dubai and she came in with boxes of things to sell. Like, so you can trace the story, you can trace the pattern. It's not shady things that is God that did it for me. What did God do? How did God do it? No process, no standards, no questions. So please, can you raise your hand? She's spoken so much about how to make money. Tomorrow it's going to be amazing. We're having Coach Mo and his wife. We'll be talking about relationships. We'll be talking about connections, and it's going to be amazing. Please ensure you are here tomorrow. But right now we are talking about money. And if you have any questions, can I see you raise your hand? And she gave, hey, if you sleep on this one. In fact, that's why I had to quickly snap and send, and I'll still be in a DM. 30 minutes free to customize your portfolio. You know me, I'm not always very packaged now, so just know it. You cannot miss it, because I know how much 30 minutes is. I know how much we pay. Atola, you know me now. Tale, I'm coming. Me, I'm chopping out of that 30 minutes. Okay, Nenga, your hand is up. Let's quickly have Nenga. We only have about 3 minutes to end this. Okay, Nenga's dropped what she's saying. I'm interested in investing, but I'm not sure which area or asset class suits me best. Based on your experience, what process would you suggest for exploring and narrowing down the right investment path?
Okay, so Nenga, like I said, everybody has a unique blueprint and story. When it comes to finance, people will generally say, invest in this, did blah, blah, blah. But what I recommend to you is to take advantage of that opportunity I just offered to do one-on-one, because general rules, there are a few general rules. Try to learn and know general financial knowledge, first of all. Know general financial knowledge. Then number two, decide to learn more about one area after you get general financial knowledge that you are interested in, and you learn about it. Never invest in anything you don't understand, okay? Because if you don't understand it and you lose money about it, you panic. Like, for example, with stocks now, okay? I told you about the story about the one stock I bought last year that the price has been going down. But because I understand what they call intrinsic value of every stock and understand the stock market, I'm not annoyed. Yes, I can't exit as fast as I want to exit, but I've said, you know what, this stock has become a dividend stock, which means that with this stock, even though I can't sell it for capital appreciation, which is price increase, I'll continue to earn dividend from it. So I left it as a dividend stock. Okay. So what does that mean? It means that because I know so much about the stock market, I'm not panicking. But imagine if you don't know that. I've seen people, because I worked in asset management in my early career, I've seen people lose money in the stock market because they panicked and sold. They saw the price of stocks dropping, but they were not knowledgeable about the stock market. They sold and they lost money. Okay. And I'm sure that you've heard some people, maybe your parents, that say, hey, I lost money. That stock share something. That share thing, hey, you lose money there. They're not knowledgeable about the stock market. Right. So I would say, don't invest in anything you don't understand. Try and learn how to understand. But for personal details, I would have to understand where you are in life, how much you're earning, okay? What is your risk appetite? What's your age range? You know, so there are a couple of things I would need to know that will be able to help me customize what exactly you should do, okay? But on the general notes, people always say, invest in asset classes that you understand, okay? Try and learn before you invest, okay? So financial knowledge is first the most important thing before you start investing. So learn generally about financial knowledge, and then pick a vehicle that matches your risk profile, your age range, and all that. If you want personalized advice, then it has to be like one-on-one, because there might be some questions I want to ask you that I cannot say on this call, or you might not be comfortable sharing. Okay, but that's a general rule in investing.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so very much, Tale. Please, she has shared a YouTube channel. She shared the link to a newsletter, and she's really giving us lots of options this night. It's 8 o'clock already, and we started 5:30 for 5:30. Please, I want all of, and please, your books. How do we get the books to buy?
Yeah, so my books are on Seller and on my website. My website is talealimi.com.
Okay.
So it's my name.com. So talealimi.com. You can see my books there. You can see some of my coaching and consulting there also. So you can check my website. It's also on Seller. So what do? I can also, let me see if I can share the link on Seller, because you can also buy the soft copy on Seller.
Awesome.
It's something that anybody's interested in. Let me see if I can quickly drop the link. Open reset, daily outcome. Yeah. It's on my website, but it's also on Seller. Let me quickly drop the link before. I know you're all leaving. It's the Seller link. So I have a lot of things on my website, basically. So basically around business and money. So most of the things that I'm focused on right now is business and money. And yeah, most of that information is on my website. Where's the Seller link now? Yeah, so I can share with you, because I hear you have a community that won't hold
Yes.
everybody back here. So I can share with you, and you can share with your community, if that's okay.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right, then.
that absolutely works. I want to say a very, very
Okay.
big thank you to you for coming to bless us. That's just the word I can use. You've really blessed us this night. And I know that, and this is almost sounding churchy, but that's just the truth. I know that the yoke of poverty has been broken. I see a lot of things that is happening in our society, and honestly, it's poverty. I was looking at somebody's status, and it was like, please, why are we praying so much about what money can solve? When we have money, our prayers will change. You spend less time in church. I keep saying that thing. That's the truth. Oh Lord, it's because you don't have money to go to the hospital. It's because you can't go for checkup. There are things that you don't need prayer for. What you just need is money. And that is why this training is extremely important, not just for you, for the next generation. And I love, and that's why we're talking about generational wealth, because if all you have is money, then you're very poor. But when you understand how to put systems, she spoke so much about, please go and get all these sessions. We can't unpack everything here. At this point, I want all of us to unmute our mics and tell Tale a very big thank you. And please, tomorrow, make sure you are here and you come in early. Oh, awesome. Thank you. You've been able to share. Please, can we unmute our mic and tell Tale thank you?
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
everybody.
All right. Good
Thank you,
night.
Tali.
All
See
right
you
then.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you.